the age of the teen years. So let's understand what a teen is. A teen is someone who is in the teen years. So the ages that start from the numbers that have teen at the end, which is 13. 12 is not a teenager. 13, it starts from 13 and goes all the way to 19. And 20 is not a teenager. So 13 to 19 is teenager. And they actually fall into a broader classification called the adolescence. So here the adolescence age is species that we call the teenagers. Now the adolescent years, how do we describe adolescence? Adolescence is that phase in life or the transition when a child is becoming an adult. So I can just put it. There is the transition from childhood to adulthood. And it has a lot of profound physical, emotional, hormonal, social changes that child is going to undergo before he or she becomes an adult. Now, we all know how turbulent the teenage years are. They're turbulent for the teenager and they're turbulent for the parents. And to understand the needs of the teenager and how we should deal with the teenager, I think we should understand the adolescents and what they are going through first. Now, adolescents can be classified in 3 stages. I think the volume is better now. So, adolescence is in 3 stages. We have the first stage, then the middle, early adolescence, middle adolescence, and late adolescence. Let's talk a little bit about early adolescence. In early adolescence, it starts from the age of 10 and goes up to 13. So you see the first teen year falls in adolescence. That's why I want to talk about it. And there are a lot of changes. There are physical changes. So the child is going to start undergoing pubertal changes in which there's a growth spurt, the child grows taller. There's change in shape, widening of hips in girls. Growth spurt is faster in girls. So let's say you have twins, Hassan and Hussein. Hussein will grow tall maybe, for example, at 12 or 13, while Hassan will still remain short till his own growth spurt comes in the mid. We're coming to the mid-adolescence later. Other changes in the early, physical changes in the early adolescence are like hair growth, so they develop pubic hair, armpit hair, so the boys maybe a little bit of hair on their beard or on their chest, and also increase in their genital sizes. For girls, they will start their menstruation. They will have their breast growths. For boys, they will have breast rings, change in their voice. So you see how much profound changes is suddenly taking place in these little kids of 10 to 13-year-old. They also undergoing a lot of hormonal changes. So there's mood swings, and all this is from as a result of the hormonal changes. In girls, estrogen and progesterone is going high, while in boys, the testosterone is going high. So because of these hormonal changes, emotional changes, mood swings, aggressive behavior in boys, rude behavior, they start having this need for independence and the need for privacy. They don't want to spend so much time with family. They'd rather be with their peers. They'd rather be alone in their home. These certain behaviors that they now start showing that the parents find it so difficult to understand. They also have this feeling of rebellion. So when you set rules and regulations, the rebellious feeling makes them want to break rules. Why should I have to come in, say for example, at so and so time? Why do I have to follow this rule? They become very rebellious at this age, and the hormones doing this to them. They also have concrete thinking in this early adolescent age. So they are thinking in terms of this is black or white, this is right or wrong, this is supposed to be this way or supposed to be this way. There's no middle way for them. And that's how they're thinking. Because children are like that, and they're still in this early adolescent age. So when they now come into the middle adolescence is from 14 to 17. In this stage, physical changes are still taking place. So they're still growing taller, they're still growing bigger, breasts are growing bigger, genitals are growing bigger. Boys' growth spurt comes about this stage. The interest in the opposite sex increases, both for the boys and for the girls. Their struggle for independence is at its peak in these years. So they don't want to follow your rules and regulations. They want to spend time. The boys want to be out with the boys. The girls want to have their girl time. They are so angry at the rules and regulations you set for them. This is how long your hijab should be. She says no. They want to defy you. They want to defy you in every way and still wants to involve to them. At this stage, their concrete thinking is a little less. But they are still thinking concrete to a large extent. Their impulsive and risk-taking behavior is high in this 14 to 17 years. So let's take a boy, for example, he has his maybe semester, maybe not say midterm exams, maybe the next day, and the boys are saying, let's go for a movie. He will say, what's the big deal? It's not such an important exam anyway, let me just go. So he will take that risk. That's an impulsive behavior. He will go out for the movies. He won't hear that he hasn't read half of the things he's supposed to do in his exam tomorrow, So then the late adolescence is from the age of 18 onwards, up to 21, sometimes even beyond 21. In this, their growth is almost complete. Physically, they have achieved maybe their adult shape and size and height. They are mentally more in God's control. Risk-taking behavior is coming down now. They know their values. So the same boy now is 18 years old. Maybe he's doing his board exams, for example, the next day. When the friends invite him for a movie, he will say no. He is able to have better, it's not a clouded judgment so on. He will say anymore. He will say, I will read today. And in the weekend, I'll follow you. When I finish my exams, I'll follow you. And he will do that. He will put his foot down. So you see, he's thinking, he has values, and he's thinking this. And by that time, most of them have completed quite a lot of education, maybe in their Islamias, their religious learning, and all that. So their values, their fear of Allah now comes in more than. So if maybe he's being invited to go club and he's able to say, no, this is haram. He puts his foot down and he says, no, I'm not going with you. He realizes that my parents are not watching me, but Allah is watching me. So he has developed that, he or she has developed those feelings. They take relationships at this late adolescence more seriously. So be it boy with their male friends, girls with their girlfriends, they take it more seriously. They have each other. They may not gossip and spoil each other's name, for example, or be disloyal in friendships. And if it is with the opposite sex, maybe they're talking to somebody, they're taking it more seriously because they know maybe this is going to end up in a permanent relationship. So they would be more loyal to that person and they would take it seriously. At this time, they re-establish a good relationship with their parents too. They don't look at them so much as an authority figure. They understand the rules and regulations the parents were fixing, why they were fixing the advantages of it. And because their thinking is no more clouded, that rebellious nature automatically starts reducing. And the parents feel this, and you see that a friendship relationship is something that was always aggressive, they were always rebellious. Now it has turned into a relationship in which you are actually friends. They can take you as friends, they can confide in you. So let's talk about what we've understood to be adolescent stages, early, middle, and later, what they are going through, so that we'll be able to deal with them better. Let's look at some of the problems these teenagers are facing, and it's all as a result of these changes that they are undergoing in their adolescent stage. They have problems related to their physical growth. For those that are growing taller, their breast growths are appearing. They are undergoing some pain. They are undergoing maybe their menstrual cycles monthly, and that's something they're going through. Then the hormones are running havoc in their brains and in their minds, and they're going through a lot of emotional trauma too. They are going through mood swings, and they feel nobody understands them, There's also some sexual problems going on around this time. Maybe there's unnecessary, unwarranted attention coming from the opposite sex, and they don't know how to deal with it, and they don't know how to talk about it. Some of these sexual problems, maybe there's interest in the opposite sex, they don't know who to confide in. Then there's a lot of peer pressure problems also. This is around the time maybe, like we talked about, being maybe pressurized into going clubbing or smoking. and they could give it, or they wouldn't know how to cope with it, and they don't know how to talk to you about it. Around this time, they were also facing educational problems. Most of them are at an age when they are doing board exams, why they have to, there's so much pressure on them to get good grades. They hardly have time, they don't have time for leisure, before they could go out to play ball, or the girls would stand out together, but there's no more time at all. So there's a lot of pressure going on in their lives around that time related to education also. These kids also have financial problems. They have grown, their needs have grown, their financial needs have grown. But we parents, with the pocket money we are giving them, as we were giving them as a child, it has not exponentially grown according to how their needs have grown. So they run short, and they don't know how to put it across. And so the problems of juvenile delinquency also come in. This is the time they can succumb to a lot of pressure. If the boys that are being pressurized into going to drugs or something can succumb to it, girls can succumb to something and go the wrong way. So these are some of the problems they are facing. And not knowing how to deal with teenagers is a major problem. And it's causing a lot of family life problems. Teenage years, as we have talked about, is full of mood swings. And many parents don't know what to do about it. Often we adopt a very wrong approach to the teenager. How many of us as parents have put, we're guilty of social comparisons? Your sister got straight A's. Your brother behaves better when visitors come to the house. We tend to compare, and it is not good for them. How many of us as parents are guilty of trying to compensate for our own failures by pushing our children to get successes that eluded us? We did, maybe you had the dream of becoming a doctor, you couldn't get into medical school, and you're pushing your son to become a medical doctor and to get admission to medicine. And it's not just for him, it's not where his interest lies. How many of us are guilty of being pushed to the wall by this aggressive behavior in the teenage years and raise our hand and become physical? All these not only lower your child's self-esteem, they can lead them to not achieve the success that you actually want them to achieve in life. Teenage years can be very depressing, and they can be sad years, they can be lonely years for the child. Since 2005, teenage depression has been on a rise by 40%. What is the reason that teenagers go into depression? Number one, the most important one is that we set unrealistic goals and expectations of them, and they're not able to meet up with those expectations. Then too much time spent on social media. This is the era of the internet and social media. Their screen time is too much. And lack of adequate sleep from really spending time on social media, movies, and just the way technology has led them in that direction. In this day and age of internet, teenagers do a lot of social comparisons themselves. Apart from the ones we parents are doing for them, teenagers are also doing social comparisons. And it's because of social media. They see what their peers, maybe in other cultures, in other countries are doing. And it makes them have this feeling of teenage discontent. And social media adds to it by what they see in Instagram and what they see in Snapchat. And so it leads to depression. No wonder all the researchers are showing that the more time a teenager spends on the screen, the higher their risk of going into depression. Therefore, parents have to play a major role in keeping them away from the evils that the negative effects of the internet. So what are our roles in riding these waves of the teenage years? Rather than use pressure and force and punishment to motivate our children, we could use love and compassion. We should lead by example, so we should not set rules and regulations which we ourselves are not. You're telling your child, go and pray, you don't stop to say your prayer yourself. You're saying this is the time you should stop social media, and you are busy maybe chatting or doing something on your phone. So you have to lead the way, you have to lead by example. Parents should participate in family activities and create family activities with the children. We should actively participate in things they like and things that are of their interest. We should be there for them. We should give them a listening ear. We should be there to discuss or confide in us. We should not look back and see that we never have time for them. Keeping our lines of communication open with our teenagers is very important. Letting them know that we are there and we understand what they feel as well as their peers do. That's very important. That's the reason when we don't show them we understand, and that's why they confide in their peers and not in us. And we've already talked about set only rules that you yourself can also follow. So if 9 o'clock is phones off, if nobody is to bring phones to the dining table when we're eating together, then that's what includes you. Increase the time spent. Just think of things you could do if you go for picnics, if your child likes hiking, obviously hiking, which you're also part of it. If one of the children is interested in gardening, create time in the weekend when you do activities that the children actually like and you people do as a family. And for the sleep issue, try and improve sleep patterns for the whole family. Waking up, sleeping at a particular time and waking up at a particular time, research has shown helps. So maybe waking them up all for Fajr and doing the Fajr together and all that will all help. And keeping these light emitting devices and smartphones away from you at night helps. So if you're one of those that is in love with your smartphone and takes it to bed every night, this is when you have to stop. Prepare for the next day ahead of time, both for them and for yourselves. There are a lot of things you can do together. Plan your meals together, eat together, pray together, do Jamaat prayers at home together. Play together, maybe it's evening, go out for badminton, soccer, do these things together. Discuss with them, and discuss your issues also with them and get their advice. And see that they can actually give you something that, because as life is changing and the world is changing, they actually tell you something that would be of use to you. Trust them and show them that you trust them. And they feel that trust and they want to live up to that trust. And give them small responsibilities around the house, and maybe after you are responsible for taking care of my car, for example, you have to warm it every morning, and they feel that responsibility and they don't want to let you down. But the most important of all, pray for them. Pray for them always. May Allah guide them. Pray for them so that the turbulence of these years does not affect them. Pray for yourself that you can be a good role model for them and you're a good parent to them. May Allah bless our children and make them good Muslims. And may Allah make this transition for them from childhood into adulthood less turbulent and as easy as possible. And may Allah always guide them on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.